Hello everybody, this is Christine Bertram coming to you from the Cards by Christine studio in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And guess what today is? It is Tip Tuesday. So we're going to talk about your catalog today. So if you don't know me by now, what you might want to know is I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And if you know that, yay! I have been loving Stampin' Up! Products since probably the early 2000s. So I'm over 20 years with Stampin' Up! And I have always loved their product, and I cherish every new catalog that I get. So much, in fact, that I have every catalog probably since 1997 up on my bookcase up here. And what I've learned over the last many years is how to handle your catalog and use it as a tool so that you don't duplicate buying things, and also to help it be organized. So if you're looking for specific things, to get right to the page that those items that you're looking for are on. So the tip for today is to utilize your Stampin' Up! Catalog to the best of its ability. So the new catalog just went live last week, Tuesday, May 4th. So it's only 7 days old. So a lot of you are probably just getting started purchasing some things out of it. But there were a lot of carryover items from the holiday catalog, the spring catalog, and also last year's annual catalog. So there could be a few things, or more than a few things, that you already own in that catalog, and you don't want to risk double buying. I have a few people that come to my mind with duplicate purchasing, and we've all done it. I have done it myself. And when you get that extra item, you're like, oh, now I have two of them. What am I going to do with two of them? And if you are lucky, you have somebody that you can work with that will help you exchange it. So I have customers who do buy duplicate, and they bring them here, and if somebody sees it there, they're like, oh, what is that? I can try to maybe help sell that, and then they buy something to replace it for that person. So we exchange internally. The other thing you can do is also send it back to Stampin' Up! And they will gladly exchange it for you. You don't want to sit there with two of the same thing, and either way, we try to make it work so that you don't have two things. But my tip for you today is, how can you avoid buying double, and how can you stay organized with the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog? So if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or a discount shopper, so you can purchase from yourself, or or you sell to others, you have a Stampin' Up! Catalog. The company will send one directly to you. If you're my customer who has purchased from me within the last 6 months to maybe a year, I've provided you with a catalog if I know you needed one. If you are my customer and you don't have your catalog yet, it's probably sitting on the counter in my mudroom, or I don't know that you didn't get it and we need to connect. So just know that I always want to get my catalogs in the hands of my customers. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that you work with, you have to reach out to me too, and I'd love to help you get a catalog. So with that being said, we're going to flipper the camera down so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I brought in last year's annual catalog so you can see what I'm talking about with tabs and then also highlighting. These are my little bread and butters today for what we're going to be going through. I'm not going to do my whole entire catalog. I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for this catalog. And you can see I've got mine laminate. So I'm like a hardcore Stampin' Up! Girl people. So I give my catalog laminated and bound at a local printing store called Minuteman Press. So if you're in the Fond du Lac area, Minuteman Press is the place to go. We used to be able to do it at Staples, but our Staples shut down. Office Max, any kind of office supply store, if you want, it really protects your catalog and keeps it in good condition. I also got the spiral bound, so it's easy to flip it like this. So just a couple little tips on that part of it. But on last year's catalog, what I did is I put tabs. So if I'm working with somebody, or if I want to shop and look for something really easily, I labeled them kits, and then I went through and so in the beginning of the catalog, it lists all the different suites. So I labeled the suites all the way to the end, because the suites generally were selling a lot within the suite, so I could find a lot within the suite. And a lot of people ask about suites. So And then it goes into the color collections. And now this is the meat of the back of the catalog, which I want to walk through those with you. So I did all of my suites, and then I did categories in the back. So what I did for, if you guys have an Amazon account, Amazon Prime, or even just regular Amazon, they sell these at Walmart, they sell them at the dollar store. You can get repositional tabs. And so I just got these in so I could do my catalog, which is one of the first things I always do is label. Let's see if I can even get it open. I'm like, oh, I gotta have you guys have the experience of me opening up a package. So we have your colors. And me being the type A of personality I am, I made sure all my colors went every color, like purple, pink, this yellowy green color, and then, well, so we have Highland Heather, we have Pool Party, we have Polished Pink, a light version, and oh man, what is that one? Let's say it's Pear Pizzazz. So I went and made sure I did them. So, so it's important to, if you like that look, it's more of a rainbow look, but it's important then to make sure you write them out. And I actually wrote them out flat and then added them to my catalog because it was easier to write them flat. But regardless, you want to use a Sharpie, like a fine point Sharpie. I have black, you have all these different colors, but what you could do in the first pages of the catalog, page 3, it lists all the suite collections. Now, if the suites don't matter to you, don't do the suites. This is completely how you want to organize your catalog, but I have here, the first suite is one of my favorites, Beauty of the Earth, and one of my favorite colors is, of course, purple, but let's see here. Kits really didn't get a lot of showcase in here because they moved the kits primarily to be an online focus. So I know Paper Pumpkin kits are like right in the beginning, so I am this time, so this one I started with kits, but that's because there was a whole selection of kits in the last catalog. So I am going to start with Beauty of the Earth. Make sure you got the right side. And because it's a permanent marker, then it won't smear. It'll dry really nicely. If you don't have good penmanship, then you might want to solicit somebody's help to write for you. And just know I started off Beauty really big, and then I realized it after the fact that I need to fit Of the Earth on here. And so I had to squish those. So there's it go. So you just want to line this up on the side, and you have the first one done. Now I would continue through. If you want to do the suites, all the suites are referenced with page numbers here. Then what I'm going to do is talk about what I categorized in the back of the book. And on this one, and I'll use my last year's catalog as a guide. So I went, because I'm not going to go through and do all mine with you today. That would take me a little bit of time, and I don't have, I want to save that for when I have a little bit more time. So we're going to go to the back here and compare what I did last year so you guys can take some notes. Grab a pen and pencil if this is something you're interested in doing. You can take notes of what I would do. So color collections is what I would do for one of them. So color collections are all the families here. It's called color collections at the top. And then on the next page is Stampin' Storage. And so it's kind of organized a little bit differently. I believe that, I don't even know if I did Stampin' Storage here, but if what the main goal is for you is to look for the important things. If Stampin' Storage is not important to you, so this is getting organized your way, I wouldn't worry about Stampin' Storage. But when you get over here, there's more color collection stuff, but Memories and More here. So I did one for Memories and More here, and so I would do a tab for Memories and More. And then there is the next page, Coloring Tools is what I referenced here. So they had a spread very similar last year to this year. A lot of this is what I consider coloring tools, blends, spritzers, blending brushes, aqua painters. So I called it Coloring Tools for that section. Then we get into our Designer Series paper, which we refer to as DSP. And so I made a little tab for DSP. So that one's the same. Then after Designer Series paper, DSP. So There's specialty paper here. You could make a tab for specialty paper, or you could just remember in your head, it's kind of like right after DSP for specialty paper. Then we have packaging. The other big one in here is this white paper. I don't know about you, but I go through a lot of white paper and I don't have all my numbers memorized by any means. So you could put on here general paper or white paper, or it's called paper basics. You could even call it paper basics, and just know paper basics is where you're gonna find your watercolor paper, your vellum, your envelopes, your linen paper, your shimmery white. So paper basics. And let's see what's on the back here. So then we would go to packaging. And so I have packaging. So packaging and paper were kind of on a spread over here that were across from each other. So I called it packaging and paper. So you could do something similar with a tab here and call packaging and paper. And then just know that when you're looking for paper, it's back here. Then we have ribbon. I definitely have a tab for ribbon. And then we go to embellishments, and I did a tab for embellishments. And then blocks. So that was one here. Let's see. I don't know if I did one specifically for blocks, but that wouldn't be a bad idea, is to do blocks. Stamparatus is here. So on this tab, you could do blocks and Stamparatus. And then punches. I would definitely do a tab for punches. Cutting tools you could do for that one. And then we get into embossing folders. Embossing folders. So you could definitely do one for embossing folders. And then we have dies. And dies go from the die bundles all the way to just dies without bundles. So you could do one for dies. And adhesives. I would definitely do adhesives as one tab. And then that takes us to our host. And I believe I did host sets over here too. And then very lastly, I did the index. So I would do host sets and then index. So you could even on this tab call it host/index and know that this page is where both of those start and finish. So that is a little bit about organizing your catalog. So using file tab, what are they called? Ultra tabs. File tabs, using a permanent marker, categorizing and organizing your catalog that way. So if I know I'm looking for, what am I looking, embossing folders? Okay, look at, there's embossing folders. Look, and on the back side, I referenced host sets. So I generally use my catalog, flip the pages both ways. So on this one, on the back side, it says Big Shot Dies, and then I put machine tools here. Punches. So I did label the fronts and the backs. Like here I have embellishments and snips. Okay, well, when I open that up, I know embellishments were here and the snips were here because I have a lot of people that are looking for the paper snips or the bone folder. So once you start to become familiar with the catalog, you'll know, well, the snips is where they have tools. So you guys, you can do it however you want. And if you don't want to do it, that is all right too. But here's my little tip now for, this is like a two-part tip. So how do you not double buy stuff? One of the things I do, here's an example of that, is I highlight when I buy things in the catalog. So when I'm going to so when I attended classes, before I was a demonstrator or even a discount shopper, I did this back then, so I knew what I have purchased in the past. Who wants to buy double? So I know, so grab your favorite color. I honestly recommend yellow is the best. If you use a color like green or pink or blue or purple, they're darker. And so they're harder to see through. So I have bought the Beauty of the Friendship stamp set, but I also bought the bundle. So in this case, I'll mark both. I don't care so much about marking sweets per se. You definitely, I do own the sweets, so I could do that. The reason I say that is because the embossing folder, which is part of this suite, and the paper, I will mark that in those respective sections. So as you start to purchase from the catalog, so I have Art Gallery, that one carried over. So if you don't remember that it carried over and you already own it and you see it in this catalog and you love it, you might buy it again. So I did get the Seascape bundle. I ordered that last week, so that one's coming in. You guys, I've done the welcoming window, so I have that one. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll highlight what I own, and I have, so the jar, this whole section right here carried over, You guys remember for Paper Pumpkin Alternative a couple months ago, we did Mountain Air. So I don't own the hugs yet. Oh my gosh. So I'll tell you a little thing about this, that this did not exactly appeal to me the most because I'm like, oh, what is up? Like, I love hugs. You guys know I love hugs, but I felt like it was very limiting. But then I saw a card that used this die cut and they put a rectangle over the top of the word hugs, and then they had all that foliage coming out the back, and they stamped something else over the rectangle that covered up the hugs, and it gives this whole thing a different look. It was awesome. And now I have to buy this. I was on the fence about this one. So I don't have everything, guys. I promise you I don't. I do have a lot, but so go through your catalog, take the time. It might not take you very long, but go through and highlight. Now, I know that when it comes, oh, this is the other thing too. If you're starting to build your ink color collection and you don't have all the ink pads, you could come through here and highlight, well, what paper do I own? What stamp pad do I own? Do I have these refills? And then when you go to a class or when you're shopping for your next order, you can easily look through here and be like, oh, I still need that Calypso Coral blend set, or I still need that Mint Macaron stamp pad. You could circle things or star the things that you want to buy and then highlight them after. Now, highlighting is just what I do. If there's a different way, if you put a check mark next to it, that works too. When it comes to these kind of things too, you could highlight them as you have them, as you buy them. Paper too. Like, this is where I'll go through and I'll highlight all the different papers that I have. You do have to give the highlighter a second to dry. If you have a really juicy highlighter and you flip the page, it will leave a highlighter mark on the opposite page. That does happen. Don't cry if that happens. You're just getting extra highlighter love on your book. But you definitely want to go through and highlight. Now, things like white paper, the things that are basic, you may not want to highlight. It's the things like embellishments, ribbons, ink colors, ink, anything. Dies, punches. Oh my gosh, I've had so many. You know, the embossing folders are those things that people accidentally buy over. Double, some punches. But I know, like, you might not ever buy two accidentally of the Big Shot or the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, but, you know, stranger things could happen. But, oh, look at that. I already highlighted these. And so last week when I could order, I could get these guys. So I got these because I can start designing different cards with these. And now I know that I have them all. So I'm good. You see that? The ones that I just highlighted were the ones that were new that I could order for the first time. A lot of the other ones were carryover or they were available in the pre-order. So, all right. So that's my Tip Tuesday for you guys. Adhesives either. I wouldn't bother to highlight them per se because they're a staple item you need and you're going to always be replenishing, and it does not hurt to have extra adhesive. In fact, you should have extra adhesive in stock. So pick and choose the things that you want to highlight. I would think more of the non-consumable things would be the things you want to highlight. This is my little Bible, guys, in the stamping world of things, and make it your own. Give it love and like use it how it's intended to be used to get ideas and inspiration from. You guys, like, this is one of the things that I like to share with people is where do I get ideas from. That card right here was a card that I liked, but I wanted to do it my way, so I improvised. So the catalog is here to give you inspiration, so you probably can't see that, but if I go here, you can see it has the same general look and feel, but I completely changed colors around, and I basically took the curtain idea and the pot on the vase on the windowsill. So use your Stampin' 'Em catalog. It is there as a tool for you. Don't spill coffee on it. That does happen. Don't beat it up too bad, but give it lots of love. You have it for the whole year. It actually is 1 month short of a year. It goes through April of 2022. So it's going to be for 11 months. And we're already halfway through the first month. Isn't that crazy? So, okay. Organization and not duplicating purchases. That was my tip for you today. Next week and the week after, my plans are to show you about how I store dies, and then one of the other ones will be storing paper. So watch for them. I get questions, especially to people who've been stamping for a while and also from beginners. How do you store stuff? Like, how do you get organized? So we're going to do a couple next weeks of organization and storage. So, all right, guys, lots of sunshine and love and hugs to you. We will see you later. Bye.